go. 580 Sports Talk coming your way on a Thursday afternoon. Brendan Dworzinski with you, leading things off today. Hey, hi, how the heck are you? Thanks so much for hanging out with me to start off this edition of 580 Sports Talk. I am here with you all day long. Spencer Dupuis will be by in the 4 o'clock hour. Dan Lucero is off today. Dan's celebrating his little one's birthday this weekend. So happy birthday to Asher, obviously. Dan and his family taking some time off. Dan will be back with us coming up on Monday. It'll be Spencer solo with you tomorrow, in fact. I will also be off for the show tomorrow, heading up to Des Moines to see some of my wife's family. But for today, it's you, it's me. It'll be Spencer Dupuis in just a little bit. Plenty to get to on this edition of 580 Sports Talk. We'll talk a little Royals baseball here to start things off in just a few moments. The Royals won yesterday. Not only that, the Royals won a series. Look at that. Multiple wins. It is doable. Multiple wins in a fairly short amount of time. However, while I'm a firmly believe that you enjoy wins while you get them on a micro level because, hey, it's fun. Why not, spruce things up? And feel excited about something. That's a better feeling than being negative, right? And on a macro level, at some point, we're all going to die. And you might as well just enjoy things, right? But that existential feeling is also why I'm having a hard time getting too excited about a Royals win. And we'll talk a little bit about that coming up here in a moment. The one thing I am certainly excited about is Stephen Kolek. And I know he's been a bit up and down. 3 of his last 4 starts have been magnificent. He also had one that was a dud last time out before yesterday. And before that 4-game stretch, he also pitched a dud. But the good has been really good. I think there's some repeatable stuff there. So I am pretty high on Stephen Kolek as a long-term piece for this team. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit as well. Also in this first hour, you heard me last week when I was in the box with you talking about this drama around college football and the SEC wants to break off and yada, yada, yada. Well, now the ongoing fervor around college football, and college sports in general, but college football and NIL and the portal and trying to get Congress involved. And I don't think this is necessarily a political comment because you know me. I don't like to bring partisan stuff into this as much as I can avoid it. I think the average American would like to see Congress involved in less, period. So to see people involved in college football and college sports begging Congress, fix this, please, really kind of rubs me as an American the wrong way. The old line, the 9 scariest words, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. So Nick Saban spoke this week in front of Congress, talking about needing a national framework to fix college football. And I've got some very negative opinions of Nick Saban doing that. Notably that it's very funny. He went from nothing is wrong when Alabama's doing it to now everybody's doing it. I've decided I'm a downright communist when it comes to the distribution of wealth and access and opportunity. So we're going to talk a little bit about Nick Saban and some not very positive thoughts I have about his take on the matter coming up here in just a little bit this hour. Rick Peterson is also going to join us this hour. Pistol from TopSports.news. He will join us as we round out the prep sports seasons. Get ready for the summer. Get caught up on what's going on over at TopSports.news. He will join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Also later today, we've got some Chiefs to get to. We're going to hear from Eric Bieniemy, what he had to say at OTAs this week. Some interesting stuff from EB that I think is worth talking about, especially after we spoke about him on yesterday's show. We're also going to hear in the 5 o'clock hour from Chad O'Shea. He is the new wide receivers coach, if you weren't aware, for the Chiefs. And I think some interesting stuff. Spencer told me, we were talking this morning, we're doing the pre-show meeting, and he was telling me, hey, I think we got some interesting stuff here from Chad O'Shea. I think people would really like to hear this. So I heeded his advice, and we're going to hear from Chad O'Shea coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Also, top of the 4 o'clock hour, so right after that news break, top of 4, we're going to grade the NFL offseason, at least for the interesting teams in the AFC. That includes the Chiefs, that includes the rest of the AFC West, and then the other interesting teams in the AFC. May sprinkle an NFC team or two in there if we have some time. But I don't feel a need to talk about the Browns. I don't, especially now after they traded Myles Garrett. And I like Jared Verse. They got a good player back. They got good picks for the future. They are on the march for Arch. They are, and I stole that phrase from Nate Tice of Yahoo, but I think that's what we're going to call it. We don't have a tank for Tua or a suck for Luck. I think we've got the march for Arch this year. That's what they're doing. They're not interesting to me. The New York Jets are not interesting to me. Not particularly enthused about the Miami Dolphins this year. You got to be really deep in the weeds with the NFL to find things that are interesting about the worst roster in football. But the Bengals, are they back into a contender window? Have the Ravens done enough to stay in the conversation as one of the contenders? Which of the AFC West teams had the best offseason? I don't know that it was necessarily the Chiefs. We'll talk about that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Spencer and I have our grades again for the relevant and or interesting teams in the AFC and their off seasons now that most of the signings are done. I don't think we're going to see many other big moves at this point. There were rumors that Cardinals edge rusher Josh Sweat was possibly going to get traded. Josh Sweat. I misspoke there. Did the Alec Baldwin for a second. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network shut that down yesterday afternoon, said, yeah, that ain't happening. Don't even think about it. So without that happening, unless there's some sort of surprise move out of nowhere, think we're probably done with the major acquisitions and various other transactions. Maybe when we get to training camp and cut down day at the end of camp, you'll see a veteran who gets cut and signs on somewhere really quickly. But I think we've got enough data at this point to discuss the NFL off seasons. We've also got What Is Wrong With You? We'll see if a fish called Baja Blast has a chance to move on. Spencer and I have a pair of news stories for you today. We've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines, including the playoff roundup. Good NBA game last night. Really fun, entertaining game. Tough, gritty win for the Knicks over the Spurs down in San Antonio. So we will talk about that in the playoff roundup, some other headlines, some NFL contributors who got some big contracts over the last 18 to 20 hours or so. So we'll break all that down. We want to hear from you as well. So hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429. That is our text line number. You can also, of course, find us on YouTube watching the show live. That's right, watching the show. It's radio, but it's also video. If you go check out the YouTube, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube is where you can find us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're at 977 currently. 977 subscribers. Almost to that 1,000 magic number. If you haven't subscribed yet, we definitely encourage you to do so. And let us know whatever you're thinking about what's going on with whatever we're talking about on the show today. Royals won a game last night. Yeah, all right. Another win for the boys in blue. We haven't gotten many of them over the course of the year, so we're going to enjoy that while we have the opportunity to. Won the series. Won a series on the road with the Reds. That's cool. I'm excited about that. Both wins, in fact, were by multiple runs. Lost by a run in a game that, if you listened to yesterday's show, you heard Dan, I think, fairly calling for a change in leadership, as most college programs put it these days, but a change in leadership for the Royals on the field with Matt Quattrero. But his team responded, got the win done yesterday, and it was a win that really had effort. He was very good. We're going to get to more on Stephen Kolek in a minute. We had drama. We had late innings heroics. It's a fun win. All things considered, that is a fun win for the Royals. Beat a team on the road in an interleague matchup. There's a lot of fun that comes with that. Now, not exclusively fun, because I would guess, and you please tell me on the text line, in the YouTube comments, whatever, when the Royals took that lead in the top of the ninth inning and were up 5-2, and Alex Lang takes the mound in the ninth, did you feel like the Royals were going to win? Or at the very least, did you feel like the Royals were going to win in 9 innings? Or were you a little bit scarred from the game before and from, watching this team and, frankly, watching Alex Lang over the course of the season? He has not exactly been, prime Trevor Hoffman out there this year. ERA in the mid-4s after yesterday. He's had his moments over time. He has now actually been pretty good over his last 6 outings or so. Been pretty darn good. Had a rougher start to the season, but has pitched well since about the middle of May. But even if he has been one of your hotter arms, did you feel like they were going to get this one done? I would imagine probably not a ton of fans thought so. Daniel Lynch had another good outing as well. You got the win. Cool. Awesome. Celebrate. Enjoy the good things when you get them. Enjoy getting a series win. The one thing I really did feel good about with this game, the one thing that I feel like has some real staying power is the outing for Stephen Kolek. And I know that it's if you only look like game to game, like, well, this game he was good, but last game he was bad. Yeah, he had two good ones before that, but before that, he was bad. Yeah, I understand all of those things. It's not perfect. He kind of has reminded me of some of those early Chris Bubich and Brady Singer seasons when you would see, like, oh, yeah, that's ace stuff. And then the next game, Brady Singer would only throw 2 pitches and would get smacked around and would go 5 and fly, and they would lose, 7-4. That's not a perfect allegory for what you're getting out of Stephen Kolek right now. But if you look over the balance of the season, he's got an ERA of 3.32. He's pitched you 38 innings so far through, if my eyes are not deceiving me, through 6 starts so far. And over the last 4, again, he's had 3 damn good outings. Against Cincinnati last night, he gives up 6 hits, 2 runs, did give up the home run. That accounted for all the runs. Struck out 8. Which is a good number for him because this is not a guy who strikes a lot of batters out. We'll get to more on that in a second. Walked a pair of batters, went 7 innings. He's giving you depth, which is good, or length, not depth. He's giving you length into the game at least sometimes, which is very valuable and something that, frankly, just not a lot of pitchers are doing at this point. But that's a really good outing, all things considered. Game before against the Rangers last Friday. Not good. Only gave you 5 innings, 6 runs, 4 of them were earned. Again, gave up a home run, struck out 5 in those 5 innings. Game before that, against Seattle, 5-0 shutout win. Went the distance. Complete game shutout. Before that, on the road against St. Louis, 6 1/3 shutout innings. Before that, White Sox didn't even get you all the way through the 5th. Walked 3, gave up a pair of home runs. Not a great outing. Then you go all the way back to what was that? May 5th. Against Cleveland. 6 innings, only did give up 3 runs, so very much a middle of the pack start. So all things told so far this season, you've got from Stephen Kolek 2 pretty bad showings, 1 middle of the road showing, and 3, I would say, very good to excellent showings. I would consider the last 2 to pretty much be excellent. You only give up 2 runs over the course of 7 innings. Your team should be able to win that baseball game. And the Royals, thankfully, were able to do that. One mistake was what Stephen Kolek did last night. And if you dive into some of the advanced numbers too, if that's your thing, it's not like an overwhelming, oh my God, this dude is just so overpowering. We talk about Baseball Savant all the time. If you never checked out the website, I do recommend it. It's all free for Major League Baseball, all the data from StatCast. It's awesome. It's almost overwhelming how much of it there is. He's capped, I think, at how good he can be because he doesn't get a lot of swing and miss. He is only in the 13th percentile of Major League Baseball pitchers in swing and miss. 100th percentile is good. First is bad. He's 13th. Not good. And he doesn't strike guys out a whole lot. 22nd percentile. So he's in the bottom quarter of Major League pitchers in terms of strikeout rate. But he also, generally speaking, doesn't walk guys. He's well above average in terms of walks. He only gives up about middle of the pack hard hit rates. So not exceptional, but it's not going to kill you. He is a very good ground ball pitcher. I do enjoy a good, back of the rotation guy who's going to give up contact, but a lot of grounders. It just feels like home. Feels very comfortable. This is not a guy who's ever going to be more, I think, than the 3rd best starter on a pretty decent rotation. In a bad rotation, he might be better than that. But if you're talking about this is a playoff team with playoff caliber pitching, he'll probably never be more than your 3rd starter in that group. But I've seen enough between the glimpse we got last year, and the good flashes so far from this year. And again, if you break it down, 6 starts and you bucket them good, bad, average, we said 3 good, 1 average, 2 bad. I'll take those numbers. I'll happily take that from a guy who's somewhere between 3rd and 5th in your rotation. So no complaints for me about that. This feels like the kind of guy the Royals should, and discounting for injuries and everything, because that's just part of the game sometimes. But this feels like a guy who can be a useful piece for the Royals for the next several years. If he doesn't get traded at some point for a major bat or something, I'm not going to predict or project that. I think just what we've seen, you can rely on him to be a pretty solid starter. ERA numbers are not, the be-all, end-all of everything. But again, you look at some of the advanced statistics. While he's not blowing guys away, he is doing enough that makes you feel like, yeah, this is at least fairly real. So his ERA of 3.32, as I mentioned, he's got a fielding independent pitching, FIP, if you will. That's controlling for strikeouts, walks, home runs, the three true outcomes. 4.1, and that's on the same scale as ERA. Just try to, if you haven't heard about that stat before, try to make it make a little sense for you. It's ERA, but for controlled specific values. For a guy who doesn't strike a lot of dudes out, a FIP just barely over 4, not a full point away from where your ERA is, that's pretty good. That's a credit to the fielding as well. Fielding plays into that if there's a discrepancy between ERA and fielding independent. So a lot to like, I think, about Kolek. Great to see him have a bounce back after one of those bad outings. Feel pretty positive about where the Royals are going with him in the near-term future. And he is going into pre-arb year, his last pre-arb year, I think next year. So yeah, you've got him under team control for a long time. So some very positive returns on him. I have enjoyed the Stephen Kolek experience for the most part so far. Beyond that, I did feel a little bit existential about this Royals win. And maybe this is unfair of me, and you can tell me if that's the case. But I have a hard time, even though I know, and I said this last week, even when I know that you change the expectations at some point when a team is clearly not going to meet them. I thought this Royals team would be good this year. Not great, maybe not a World Series contender, but certainly good enough to contend for a playoff spot, should have been in a playoff spot, and contend for the division title. It does not appear that is going to be the case at this moment. The Royals have the second worst record in the American League. They have the fourth worst run differential in all of Major League Baseball. The difference, though, again, is that unlike some of those other terrible teams, the Royals had expectations that this could be a playoff contending roster. So it becomes hard for me, and just speaking on a personal level here, it becomes hard for me to reconcile that this team probably doesn't have a realistic shot at the postseason. That's hard for me. That is a challenge for me. So I go into these games, into these series, okay, well, if they can get 2 out of 3 here and 2 out of 3 in their next series, and maybe they can get 3 out of 4 this weekend from the Twins. When I dig through things like that, it's hard for me to say, oh no, they're done with postseason consideration. That it's over. I can get very existential in my life, but that is one what does it even matter area where I struggle with it. But just looking at what it is going to take to get back realistically in the playoff hunt, you need to get hot, and you need to get hot right freaking now if you're Kansas City. Right now, the Royals are 6 games out of the third wild card, which is the Oakland, Sacramento, West Sacramento, Vegas, Philadelphia A's. I think that's their official name now, by the way. They're in the third playoff spot at the moment. They've won a couple games in a row over the absolutely pathetic Chicago Cubs, but that's neither here nor there. You've got some winnable games coming up if you're the Royals. You've got the Mets coming up, start of next month. Philly has had its moments, but isn't great. The White Sox in Chicago, they've been better, but they can't really pitch. St. Louis has been decent. Washington has been pretty good. It's not murderer's row necessarily, but it's not going to be a cakewalk either. Nothing's a cakewalk for this Royals team. And already 6 games out of the last wild card spot, you essentially, to have an outside chance. And I was looking through some past teams that made comebacks in September to get into the postseason. If you want to have an outside long shot but realistic chance to make the playoffs, you need to be roughly within 5 games of a playoff spot at the start of September. Again, roughly. The Royals are 6 out right now, and we are not even to the All-Star break. And that is very worrisome. 6.5. I even shortchanged them. They are 6.5 games out of a wild card spot. We are not even to the All-Star break. There's a lot that could change in that time, but I don't know that I have a lot of faith in this Royals team to turn it around. So I've gone from trying desperately in all these games and all these series to say, well, if they do this, they can make the playoffs, to, it's the angel and the devil on your shoulder. That's what the angel is saying. The devil on the other side is asking me, what's the point? What's the point of getting excited when this is not going to go anywhere? When the manager very reasonably might not make it to the end of the season? When this is probably a lost cause season with one of the three best players in Major League Baseball and Bobby Witt Jr. under roster? That has been hard for me to reconcile. So while I want Royals fans, while I want you to be excited that you won a game, you won a series, this team has sucked on the road. Sorry to be as blunt as can be. They have sucked. In fact, I'm just recognizing this now, looking at the standings, and I'm not blown away because it actually makes sense, but it is just staggering to see. Nobody has fewer road wins than the Royals this year. No one in the American League has fewer than 11 other than the Royals. No one in all of Major League Baseball has fewer than 11 road wins than the Royals. The Royals are 9-21 on the road this year. My God. So obviously you change expectations. You don't expect this team to be the team we thought they might be at the beginning of the year. That's a hard adjustment for me to make. I would love the Royals to turn things around right now, but unless they can go out and sweep the Twins this weekend, then go gangbusters and win your series against Texas, win your series against Houston, win a series against Washington, I'm not necessarily going to feel any better, even if this is a nice little glimmer of hope over these last couple of days. We've got to get to a commercial break. We'll talk to Rick Peterson later on this hour, just about 10 minutes from now. But on the other side of this timeout, some thoughts on Nick Saban and more drama from the college football world. That's coming up after this on 580 Sports Talk. On 580 Sports Talk. Brendan Wrzinski here with you. Spencer Dupuis will be by coming up in just a little bit. We'll also talk to Rick Peterson here within the next 10 minutes or so. Before we get to the college football thoughts, I wanted to get to a quick couple of questions and comments from the YouTube feed I wanted to get to here. We had a couple different folks who mentioned that they assumed the Royals were going to lose when they were up 5-2 in the ninth inning. That's what happens when you're a fan of a team that, well, just blew a major lead and blows leads consistently. Is things like that happen, and you don't get the benefit of the doubt from your fans all that often. Did have a comment from Carl who asked, why do you think what do you think the reason is that the Royals won't let Lynch pitch the ninth inning? I don't know. I've wondered that for quite a while. I'm in the new school camp that I don't necessarily think your best reliever needs to be your closer. I believe more in having a fireman versus having a closer. And hey, if we need to get the heart of the order out in the eighth, bring your best reliever in the eighth inning. I don't know that I necessarily believe that guy has to be your ninth inning guy. But when the Royals have struggled with the ninth inning guy, Urseg, why not try someone else who has been pitching well? And this has been the case going back to last year, too. So I don't have a good answer for that. I'm really not sure. I would like to see it. I'm a big fan of Daniel Lynch's game. I'm not entirely sure why we have not gotten to see that opportunity a little bit more. Also, Carl, along with Christopher, both pointed out the Royals have 32 quality starts this year. 32 of them. 17-15 in those games. That's crazy. That is honestly crazy. And, you know, the quality start is not a perfect statistic. Like, when you extrapolate that out, because it's 3 runs or fewer in 6 innings or more is a quality start. That's the statistical definition. But that's a 4.50 ERA, 3 runs in 6 innings. If you did that every single game, you'd have a 4.50 ERA, which is not, you know, exactly Cy Young caliber, but it's enough to say, hey, realistically, you should be competing in this game. And that's the point of that statistic. It just sounds like a bigger deal than it is necessarily. So correct to the commenters who pointed out, starting pitching is not the problem. And I don't think it is. I mean, obviously, it's the inability to score, also the inability for the bullpen to give you like any reason to believe at any given time. It's crazy to see a 17-15 record, however, with that kind of starting pitching caliber. That's utterly ridiculous. Also wanted to get to this on the college football front before we get to Pistol here. So this clip is from Nick Saban yesterday, talking about spending at his former school, Alabama, compared to other schools and where things are heading in college football and in college sports and all of that. And I wanted to just play this for you because I think it's important to note Nick Saban is arguably the greatest coach in the history of college football, most successful, certainly. Nick Saban also benefited from an era where the SEC was playing a different sport, and you get what I'm saying. They were playing a different sport than everyone else for a long time. And Mike Slive and later Greg Sankey, the commissioners of that conference, saying, hey, instead of ratting on each other, what if we just all kept doing what we're doing under the table and didn't rat on each other, and it ended up working out for all of us? And that's what they did. And now other leagues can also pay players, and they can do it above board and over the table instead of under it. And now all of a sudden the SEC is all PO'd. We had that Kirby Smart quote last week about how he thinks the SEC should break off. And I tell him, hey, good luck to you, pal. This is what Nick Saban had to say about this, in part, speaking to Congress yesterday. Take a listen.
Let me give you that.
So out of curiosity, was Nick Saban doing anything to talk about the sanctity of keeping the Olympic sports and the quote unquote non-revenue sports when he was at Alabama? And, you know, he was the highest paid coach in college athletics. Was he championing that stuff then? No. He wasn't, because Alabama was not playing on the same playing field as everybody else. However, now that we've evened the playing field, hold on. We need to set caps here. We need to limit this. We need national framework to organize all of this. I'm not naive, and I know that my opinion is not the only opinion on the matter. We all have a lot of different opinions. Some folks agree entirely with what Nick Saban is saying. There are some on the complete opposite side, even farther away on the spectrum than I am, and saying, no, we should have no limit at all. We have not gone far enough, and we need a CBA, and we need employment status, and we need all of these things. I understand that there is a difference of opinion here. My biggest overall point, and why so much of this, and going to Congress of all places and begging, please save our sport, please, Congress, which is just so gross to me, is on so many levels. It's just so hard to take it seriously when a guy like Nick Saban is the one preaching for it. It's not the little guy. That's what we all heard, right? Like, oh, well, a playoff's going to help the little guy, and this NIL is going to kill the little guy. The littlest guy in the power conferences just won a national title and has been to the playoffs back-to-back years because we've even the playing field. Those aren't, and they're part of a major conference still. That's a founding member or a charter member of the Big Ten in Indiana. So when you hear from a guy who had every single benefit that you could ever want, need, ask for, etc., but now it's all even and level, and suddenly, whoa, this is too much. We need to hold back. That is why I cannot get behind that particular mindset or that particular argument. I totally get it if you think that his words, just true words in a vacuum, are important and are the way we should go. That is not the guy I want to get that message from, because all that guy saying it is telling me is it's fair when I have an advantage, but when you are now equal to me, suddenly we've got problems. I don't want to hear anything of the sort from Nick freaking Saban about the benefits of one school having money over another. Give me a freaking break. We've got to get to a commercial break. How fitting. Coming up, we're going to talk to the absolute best of the best when it comes to our local sports here in Topeka and Shawnee County. That's Rick Peterson from TopSports.news. He's up next for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. Joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline, he is the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news. The best of the best when it comes to covering all of our local teams at the prep level and also at Washburn University. You can find him on Twitter at Peterson_Rick. You can find his work at TopSports.news. Pistol, have you been able to catch your breath as we round out the prep sports season?
Not yet. I still trying to get together all my all-county teams and putting out to all the all-league teams as we get them. So not yet, but hopefully soon.
Well, we've got a handful of state championship teams to talk about, so let's dive right on in. After we spoke last week about some of those big state tournaments and events coming up, let's start on the baseball diamond, where Washburn Rural breaks a 74-year drought, wins the state baseball championship, and wins it with a play that made it onto the Sports Center top 10 on ESPN, a tag out at the plate on a wild pitch to seal the championship. What an incredible win for Washburn Rural. Pistol, I can't remember, at least in my time here, a more incredible way to cap off a championship of any sort than on a botched wild pitch attempt to run home.
Yeah, I would agree. I can't think in my career that I can really think. I've seen some, shots at the buzzer and things like that, but you just don't see that kind of play, a play at the plate, to end a game like that very dang often.
It was absolutely remarkable, and a huge credit to that Washburn Rural team. Let's stick with baseball here real quick, Pistol, and wrap things up for the Hayden Wildcats. They, unfortunately, did not win their state championship. Still an incredible year, finishing second in state in Class 4A. They fall to Mulvane 9-4 in their championship game last week. Story up from Nathan Swaffer over at TopSports.news recapping that game. Incredible season, Pistol, for the Wildcats. Just came up a little bit short.
It's a great season. I think anytime you make it to state, definitely anytime you make it to a championship game. And, like Coach Arnold said, he's just immensely proud of them. And hey, Mulvane just had a better team that day.
Same thing can be said very similarly to Shawnee Heights and their bid to win a state title in Class 5A. They come up short against St. Thomas Aquinas. They win their third straight. That's another team, Pistol. Nothing but positive things to say about the campaign that program put together.
Yes, and that's what Coach Brown said. And the thing is, too, hey, there's a reason Aquinas has won 3 in a row. And they showed that. Great pitching, some timely hitting. They just did everything right. And like you said and Coach said, just, hey, that day, Aquinas, and they've proved the last 3 years they were the better program.
Before we get to the other state champs, Pistol, as we're talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news, joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk and the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. Before we get to these other state champs, I just wanted to sort of expand on what you've said with these last two teams. And I think this is something that I've really come to feel, whether it's prep sports, college at any level, professional sports too. I don't think it's necessarily even healthy to have this idea that, well, if you didn't win a championship, your year was a total failure. And there are sometimes, like in pro sports, the Chiefs are the odds-on favorite all year. They get there, they lose. Well, was it really a successful year? But generally speaking, you play for state, you play for a national title, whatever. That was a great season. I feel like that's something maybe recently we've lost a little bit just as sports fans. Hey, you can have a great season worth celebrating, even if you don't hoist the final trophy. And I think that's important when you think about a team like Hayden baseball or Shawnee Heights baseball or, another program like that.
Or Silver Lake baseball. Throw Silver Lake in that,
absolutely.
In that same group. And really even Rossville got third. But you're exactly right. And I remember forever coaches would tell me, and I'm talking about basketball, but it goes for all sports. They said their biggest game of the year is sub-state final, because if you get to state, you feel like you've accomplished something, and I think that's got to be the way you got to look at it, because it's some of these teams we're talking about are kind of used to going to state.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those teams, Washburn Rural's been to state, but they hadn't won a title in 74 years. I mean, you just gotta take your victories where you can get them. And I know the coaches feel that way. Sometimes as fans, but those were all great performances that we just talked about.
I'm glad you mentioned the two other county teams, Silver Lake and Rossville, and their seasons as well. Flipping sports here to another team that did win a championship. We already mentioned Hayden baseball. How about Hayden soccer completing the clean sheet, perfect 21-0 record? They beat Rose Hill in that championship game. You told us last week, Pistol, that, hey, no disrespect to the Rockets, but felt pretty good about Hayden's chances to win that state crown. And, man, the Wildcats went out and did just that.
Well, okay, let's go back to the weird endings type thing.
Yes.
Okay. So Hayden soccer, they're trying to complete an undefeated season. They not only have to deal with weather delays, and then they have to go from playing outside to a smaller indoor facility to get it done. And they were able to get it done.
Yeah, incredible. I saw, just following along on social media, that they were moved indoors, and I thought, oh boy, because when I think, Pistol, it's fair to say, like in football, we talk about it all the time with weather, right? Like, well, one team's really fast, one team doesn't play as fast, but if it's rainy or snowy, it's a great equalizer because it slows down the fast teams. I imagine playing in such a different environment, not that it would have made that team nervous, but at least from my perspective, like, whoa, who knows what can happen when you have that curveball at the last second?
Exactly, and they were scoreless at halftime, and are used to scoring quite a few goals, and only got one goal. But again, all that matters is it's getting the job done, and they got the job done.
Shout out on the soccer pitch as well to Washburn Rural, finishing with an 11th consecutive top 3 finish in 6A. That is absolutely unbelievable. Softball, want to make sure we get there too. How about Silver Lakes girls with a softball championship for Coach Nick Hamilton, Pistol?
Yeah, in their third straight trip to the finals. And it was good to see Nick and the Eagles get it done because they had, lost 2 tough ones the previous 2 years. And it's a great performance. And what it does for them is it gives them the triple crown: volleyball, basketball, and softball.
Yeah, what a year. That was the follow-up I wanted to have. And not that, success to Silver Lake High School athletics is anything new or unexpected. Yeah. But, man, it has been a whale of a year for that athletic department.
Yeah, and boys also. I mean, third in basketball, second in baseball, a very good football team, So, yeah, no, it was a great year. But, you talk about somebody that's probably a little bit spoiled. It's Silver Lake because they're just used to ending the year with a chance at title.
Yeah, pretty nice. That's a pretty nice way to live. Couple more minutes with Rick Peterson from TopSports.news, joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk, joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. All right, we've waited long enough. Let's talk a little track, state track. This past weekend, I know, Pistol, it is your favorite event, your favorite time of year to cover that state track meet down there in Wichita. What were some of the headlines for you coming out of state track this year?
Well, first of all, you got 3 state champions. Brody Anderson has been great throughout his career, but he had never got that state title. He had gone up against the really good Capon kid, and in the first 2 races of 2026, and got second to him, to Enriquez. But he ends his career with a state championship in the 800 meters. The top 3 finishers in that race all broke the 5A meet record, so that was great. Christian Hartman-Babb wins the 6A 100, and there for just a matter of an inch or two, would have won the 200, but got second on a true photo finish. And then the Lewis kid, only a sophomore from Rossville, wins the 2A javelin title, and he had a weird weekend. It was supposed to be Friday. It was pushed back to Saturday. They had the weather problems on Saturday, but when he did get a chance to go out there, he got the title. So strange weekend, but a good weekend.
Do we have some quick fingers on that stopwatch? We had that many kids breaking the state record all at once.
Yeah, in the 800, they were all would have got the meet record in 5A, but of course Brody's the name that goes in there.
Well, congratulations to him, man. That's insane to have that many who would have set the record all at once. That's unbelievable. I wanted to ask you, having covered that event for as long as you have and have seen some unbelievable moments there. Our former coworker Jake Laban, he obviously got to be there and experience that as an athlete back in his high school days at Salina Central. That it's the kind of thing that to me it's easy to take for granted. Like, it's such a special thing, but over time, like, oh yeah, it's great, but maybe you lose sight of why it's great. Do you still feel all these years later, Pistol, like it is as special as it always used to be?
Yeah, I do. The thing that I like the best about it is that I can see everybody. If you see a really, really good 1A performer, then you can sit around a few races and you're going to see the best that 6A has to offer. And, how often do we get to do that? I know they're trying to get some more state events at the same site, but, we've had all 12 at Wichita for as long as I've been around.
It's unbelievable. It's such a cool event. If you haven't been, well, get ready for next May so you can go and check out the 27 version. We are joined every Thursday at this time by the great Rick Peterson, the Hall of Famer. You can find his work at TopSports.news. You can find him on Twitter at Peterson_Rick. Pistol, as always, my friend, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson joining us on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits Hotline. We will get to a quick timeout. We'll pay some bills, come back, wrap up this 3 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk after this. Big thanks, as always, to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for joining us here for the local sports spotlight. If you missed our interview with Pistol or any part of this first hour, any part of the show any day, in fact, you can go check out our website, 580wibw.com, and the podcasts page, or find us on Spotify. That's right. The most popular music streaming app is also where you can find 580 Sports Talk in podcast form. It's broken down hour by hour every single day, so you can listen to a segment you may have missed, re-listen to your favorite segment, hear a good take. All my takes are good, obviously, but you can find all that on Spotify. Just search 580 Sports Talk. Also wanted to talk to you guys briefly before we get to our top of the hour break about my good friends at Calhoun's Jewelers. They have been a staple here in Topeka for so many years, and it's easy to see why. The staff is absolutely incredible. So is the selection inside, whether you're looking for an engagement ring, a wedding band, earrings, necklace, bracelet, you name it. They've got it. It's an incredible selection, an incredible staff as well. I've had nothing but good experiences. Dan has had nothing but good experiences there. So I, as always, recommend you go visit my friends at Calhoun's Jewelers. Check them out, 1801 Southwest Gage Boulevard, or you can find them online at calhounsjewelers.com. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of the show, Spencer Dupuis is going to join us for the rest of the program. And as we start the 4 o'clock hour, we are going to grade the offseason for relevant and interesting teams in the AFC. Obviously, we'll spend plenty of time on the Chiefs, but what about the rest of the AFC West? What about the other contenders, or at least somewhat interesting teams in the AFC? If we have time, we might sprinkle a couple from the NFC in as well. We'll also get to what is wrong with you. 2 new stories going head-to-head today, trying to take down the fish called Baja Blast. And we will hear from Eric Bieniemy, who spoke at Chiefs OTAs. He is back in the saddle. We heard all about our thoughts yesterday on how should we rate his return, overrated, underrated, etc. Well, let's hear from the man himself. That's coming up bottom of next hour. We'll join you after the news break and a couple ads right back here on 580 Sports Talk. 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk coming your way. Brendan Dworzinski, Spencer Dupuis here with you to start off this 4 o'clock hour. Thank you so much for spending some of your Thursday afternoon with us. How you doing, pal?
Doing good.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. How are the farm markets?
Not good.
Oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, we got a little animal illness crossing the border.
Oh.
From Canada or from New Mexico into Texas.
Oh.
Freaking out the markets.
Oh. That sounds bad.
Yeah, the new world screwworm.
Well, I
haven't had one in America, I believe, since 1966, a positive case. So.
Oh, wow. How bleak.
Yeah.
This has been Talking Ag with Spencer and Brendan on 580 Sports Talk. No, thank you guys so much for joining us today. With you until 6 o'clock this afternoon into the early evening hours. We'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts on rare screwworm cases in Texas, or preferably the Royals, the Chiefs, etc. You can hit us up on the text line. 785-272-9429 is the text line number. You can also find us on YouTube. That's right, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, you're missing out on all of our great video content. Head to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk will be the first option there. 977 is our number as of last check.
Oh, no.
Yeah, someone unsubscribed. You know what we call them? A loser.
No, it was a bot.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
too.
it was definitely a bot.
YouTube and all the various social media sites, every few months, every 6 months, whatever, they'll sweep and like, okay, what are accounts that haven't been used in 5-10 years? What are obvious bots? Let's axe them. And yeah, that probably, I'm hoping it was the deleted bot is what that was. Otherwise, if it was one of you and you unsubscribed, you're going to make me sad. So remember that. You're making me sad.
There was that one sub that we would get to a milestone and we'd be like just about there, and then he'd unsub. Like we'd get close to we'd be at $8.99, and then we would say on their show we're at $8.99, and then we'd go back down to $8.98.
Damn troll. Not very nice, but I'll tell you about that.
That's what you watching on YouTube right now. We know it.
We know it's you. Coming up here in this 4 o'clock hour, we're going to talk some NFL here in just a moment. We're going to grade the offseason for interesting teams in the AFC. We've also got What Is Wrong With You for today. And we will hear from Eric Bieniemy as well, as he spoke to the media earlier on this week. We will get his thoughts on his return to Kansas City. Also, your texts, again, 785-272-9429. And we will hear from you on the YouTube feed in the comment section. Again, 580 Sports Talk on YouTube.
I think it's hilarious that Eric Bieniemy literally kicked the offense off the field yesterday because they weren't.
I'll tell you what, Matt Nagy wasn't going to do that.
3 bad attempts, and man.
Yeah, he.
Hey, I appreciate it, though. I appreciate the coaching.
Yeah,
and I think the players do, too, especially right now, because now is where you get better. You can't get better if you miss 3 easy passes or something. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You got to get the Bieniemy way, I think.
I hear you. No, I it's one of the things that I feel like if this was his 3rd season back, I don't know that he does it, but hey, this ain't Camp Nagy anymore, Bubba. Get your bleep figured out.
Well, I mean, I feel like that was the whole reason he was brought back to begin with, because they performed pretty well under him. And 2, it just seemed like when he left, something in the offense was gone.
There's an edge that left.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that's hard totally edge. Fair. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Well, definitely a hard edge considering you had to edit his availability a little bit because he may have said the S word.
Yes.
May have said a bad word in there. All right. So this is what we're going to do talking the NFL here. I wanted to grade all the interesting and or relevant teams in the AFC. As I mentioned earlier, we're not going to do the Dolphins. We're not going to do the Browns. We're not going to do the Jets because those teams are on the march for Arch. They would like Arch Manning to be their next long-term starting quarterback. We are also not going to do the Titans because although I do like Cam Ward and I like their draft. I like Carnell Tate, but they're going to be bad. we are going to do the Raiders because they're in the division.
Yeah.
I thought that was fair. We'll do the Raiders. So my point here with this exercise is not to do like a ranking necessarily of who's a contender or say, okay, if you get an A, that means you have a chance to go win the Super Bowl. No, I'm talking about given where they were when the 2025 season ended, what they had available to them, what their team needs were, things like that. Did they get better? Did they get worse? Did they fill those needs? So, hypothetical here. This is not my answer for them. Hypothetically, no one, even if they had an incredible offseason, is going to say the Raiders are a contender. But if you were to say, hey, they got a franchise quarterback in the draft and a good backup to lead to possibly start the first few weeks in Kirk Cousins. I like what they did for their offensive line. They had some other good draft picks. They couldn't have been worse on defense. Like, I like it. I'm giving the Raiders an A. Okay, that is totally fair. That does not mean you think they're a contender. You are just grading specifically in the context of what these teams accomplished during this offseason, from Super Bowl until where we are today. I'm assuming we don't have any more major moves coming, unless there's another blockbuster trade out of nowhere, which if it's not going to be Josh Sweat, I don't know why I can't do the SH into SW. Josh Sweat. There were rumors that either the Eagles or Packers wanted him. Ian Rappaport of NFL Network said, no, wrong, not happening. So I don't think we're going to get any more major moves this offseason until we get to, street free agency, when guys get cut at the end of training camp and things like that. So let's get to it. Let's start with the Chiefs. Let's just start right off the top with the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs this offseason, and to label the major moves, obviously the draft, they got Mansour Delane, who the expectation is he's going to be a contributor at corner right away, if not a day one starter at cornerback. You drafted R. Mason Thomas in the second round. Expect him to be a contributor somehow. We heard positive things from the defensive coaches about him this week and what he brings to the table. Also took Peter Woods. I jumped over him. Took Peter Woods, former number one prospect in the class. Took him at the end of the first round. Those were your top three picks. There are obviously some others. In terms of signings, you brought in Alohi Gilman at free safety, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens and Los Angeles Chargers. Had a really good year last year with Baltimore. Brought in Kader Kohu, formerly of Miami, as a slot corner. He did not play last year due to an injury, but has been a good slot before. Also brought in Kairos Tonga along the defensive line. Really like him. He is not going to get sacks, but he's a good run stuffer. The big offensive addition, obviously, Kenneth Walker coming in at running back. Also brought in Emery DeMercado and drafted Emmett Johnson to round out a much better running back room, in my opinion.
Does it have to be players? Because I think...
Great question.
I think them bringing in Chad O'Shea to be the wide receiver, an actual wide receiver coach to be the wide receiver coach, and a 3-time Pro Bowler to be your running backs coach. DeMarco Murray, huge, along with EB.
Yes, no, I'm very glad you brought that up. Include coaches, include head coaches, include everything that has transpired since the Super Bowl. All of that comes into play here. So coaching probably plays into this for the Chiefs. I'm leaning B-. That's
I
where
was
I'm
leaning B+.
So I like the coaching additions. It would have been almost impossible to not improve your wide receiver coach. I think running back coach you upgraded. EB, like I said yesterday, I think it's a little bit overrated, but it's not going to be worse than Nagy. At the bare minimum, you're going to be about equal. So I'm cool with all of that. Defensively, I love the Kairos Tonga signing. I love that signing. I like Delane as a player. I think Gilman is going to fit in very naturally at that free safety spot. I think Kohu was a good addition and drafted Jaden Kennedy as well, kind of as his understudy. I like a lot of those moves. Jury out for me a little bit on R. Mason Thomas and Peter Woods, but I see the theory there. They've upgraded their running back room tremendously, going from bottom 5 in the league to, even if this is a mediocre running back room, like you're talking somewhere between 15th and 19th. That's way better than 28th.
Yeah.
That's a humongous upgrade with a guy in Walker who can actually get you an explosive. I'm happy with all of that. My hang up is you didn't do anything other than drafting a 5th rounder in Cyrus Allen. You did not do anything to address the pass catchers at all. This tight end room stinks. And I don't mean to be overly disrespectful to Travis Kelce, who is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, but he's also in his mid-30s and can't do what he was able to do a few years ago. Noah Gray is a bit player. As much as I like my guy, he's a bit player. Jarrett Wiley brings you nothing. Like, that's not a good tight end room. Your wide receivers, your best wide receiver, Spencer, is in jail. He is literally in jail right now. That
Only
is a
for
problem.
12 more days.
That is a problem. Xavier Worthy, I personally, this is a me feeling. I don't trust him. I like Tyquan Thornton, but he is a very limited player. We have no idea what Royals can be. We have no idea what Allen can be. If Remigio makes the roster, it's not for his offensive prowess. I like, maybe not love, but I like most of what the Chiefs did in terms of who they did bring in this offseason. The reason I can't go above about a B- is I think this is a gigantic, glaring flaw, and they did not do anything beyond 1 5th-round pick to fix it. That's my hang up here. So above average, B-, that's passing. That's above average. But I can't go beyond that because I feel like that's such a black hole on this roster. You were much higher, though. You said B+.
Yeah, and my B+ is just it's everything you said, but I'm giving them a tick up because they know their guy, Patrick Mahomes, right? They knew from the jump he was going to try to be able to go week 1. Even if he does go week 1, just taking some pressure off of him was huge. And I think the fact that they went out there and they got Kenneth Walker, to me, is the biggest. It's the biggest thing that moves it up from a low B to a B+ is that you're not just running it back and going, Patrick's got to make these amazing plays that he does all the time, coming off of a torn ACL in which he's about to try to come back the earliest ever. The fact that they're just pulling some weight off of him, his comeback, by getting one of the best running backs the best running back available, I think, in the free agency pretty much, was huge. And I think to me that gives them that B+. But again, not addressing the wide receiver was bad, but they addressed parts on the defense where they were either really bad last year or there was just nothing there.
I will tell you this.
Getting 2 corners, you kind of had to.
Yeah,
right?
no, I agree with that. No, 100% agree.
Getting a lineman, you kind of had to.
To your point about Chad O'Shea, if they essentially run back the wide receiver room from last year, just swap in another new rookie for Hollywood Brown. If the wide receivers not only are more productive, because part of that's the offensive structure, right? But if they're just better than they were a year ago, Chad O'Shea is not going to be a position coach very long. That dude's going to move up to coordinator real quick. Because people, like, EB is a little different because he was already with the Chiefs, but, like, people took note of how good those Bears running backs were last year.
Yeah.
And they were damn good. And it's like, whoa, EB, all right, there's something there. If the Chiefs wide receivers turn on, whoa, Chad O'Shea, that's pretty good right there. So that's a name to know coaching-wise if the wide receivers do improve. Let's get to the rest of the AFC West. We'll go a little quicker through these other teams in the AFC. The Los Angeles Chargers, they drafted with their earliest picks in this year's draft, Akeem Mesidor, the edge rusher from the University of Miami. They also, in the second round, went with Jake Slaughter, who is expected to start at guard. He was a full-time center in college. They also, however, signed a center in free agency in Tyler Biadasz, who Spencer's Commanders cut. They signed a couple of tight ends in Charlie Kolar, who's he's a Y. He's a blocking tight end. Also brought in David Njoku. I kind of love their tight end room, to be honest with you. Also should mention they added Cole Strange on the offensive line, the former first-round pick from New England, spent some time in Miami. Signed Alec Ingold as their fullback. They're one of the few teams that uses a fullback. Really improved there because their previous one, Ben Matlock, just not a good player. The big loss, in my opinion, for them, Keenan Allen. He's still a free agent out there. They lost Jesse Minter, their defensive coordinator, who is now the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think their defense was especially talented already. I think they had one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL leading them. Losing him is a really big deal. Now, on the other side, they added a better offensive coordinator. They got rid of Greg Roman. They brought in Mike McDaniel. I am going to give them... I think I'm going to give them a... Oh, man. I'm going to go with a B- for the Chargers as well. I think their defense is going to be noticeably worse. Like, I didn't like the Mesidor pick. I would not draft a 26-year-old in the first round. I just would not do it. Because if he was a good enough player to play in the NFL, I think he goes before that. I'm very worried about what that defense will look like. But I think that might be a top 10 offense this year. So I'm going to go. And I think their line cannot be worse than it was last year.
I think it's a lot better. I think it's center. Tyler Biadasz is a very good center.
Yeah, very good.
I just think he was making a little too much money.
Sure.
That was the problem, right? Like, money, that's business side of things.
Right.
I think I did not like the Akeem Mesidor pick, especially because he's slotting in to be like a rotational outside linebacker.
Okay, and to that point about
like, why are you drafting a rotational edge rusher, outside linebacker in the first round? That's old.
And yes, exactly. Because it's one thing if he's 21, right? And it's like, okay, he's going to need to grow into it a little bit. This dude's a grown man.
Yeah,
like, he is what he is going to be. So to have him be like, yeah, like maybe it'll be a year or two till he contributes. Nah, man, you draft a dude who's 26. He better be able to start for you immediately. No, I agree with that. What's your letter grade for that? C+. I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
It was between C+ and B-, but like the fact that you got an older guy in the first round, like
Agreed.
Wasting a pick.
Denver Broncos, they made essentially one addition to their starting lineup. In fact, I'm looking at the depth chart right now on our lads.
Me too.
One addition.
Yep.
They added Jalen Waddle. For the record, I think that's a great addition. I think that's a piece that they can really use. That's a high-end number 2 wide receiver. I think he's a great pair with Cortland Sutton. That's a piece that I think will help Bo Nix. I like that move. I also think that, generally speaking, the whole let's run it back doesn't work. I think there's always like, we can get better. Bringing back every single piece of the defense, and defense is less repeatable than offense, and their defense was good all year, but it was not great down the stretch. That gives me some worry. At least to start the year, they're changing play caller. They're going with Davis Webb.
He's a full-time OC now.
Yeah, he's a fast-rising star in the business, but Sean Payton gave that up. We don't know how healthy Bo Nix is going to be week 1. Their tight end room is not great. They don't use tight ends a ton, but they don't have a great tight end room. I'm beating a dead horse here, but I think I'm going to go C+ for them. I'm going to give them the lowest grade yet. Like, I like the Waddle move, but they didn't do anything else. And I don't know what Webb is going to be as a play caller. So I'm going to give it a C+.
Yeah, I'm going C because, like, look, our lads isn't, it's not 100% accurate. They just use whatever they use to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You got Jalen Waddle, huge trade to add alongside Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin. But then, like, you drafted 2 guys, 2 of your draft picks make it in the top 2 projected rotational players, like as a backup, number 2.
Yeah.
The rest of your guys, they're like, you didn't really make anything good, right? Like,
yeah. And it's tough when you don't have they had no picks in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. But the way it makes it look like they have the most stacked team in the world, that they're essentially drafting tight ends that they're going to cut and put on their practice squad.
Yeah. And I think Dan made this point a couple weeks ago. Like, the offense probably was, overplayed their ability last year, which is a credit to them and to Sean Payton. They made it work. But yeah, I think around a C+ is fair for them. Raiders, real quick, because they're not a contender. They have changed a lot. Obviously, drafted Fernando Mendoza. They brought in Kirk Cousins. He'll probably start the year, but Mendoza will take over at some point. Their wide receiver room sucks so badly. It's unbelievable. It's terrible. Defense, they can't be worse than they were last year for the most part. They add Nakobe Dean, add Teron Johnson, Quay Walker from Green Bay. I think they made some improvements there. They added Tyler Linderbaum for an absolutely preposterous contract. And they did sign Clint Kubiak as their new head coach. So this is, again, kind of where I talk about getting a good grade does not mean you're a contender.
Yeah.
I'd argue that this is a B+ offseason, and the team is still like a D.
Yeah.
Because they were just so bad.
I was going to go B in the additions and how they went around this offseason. But if you're projecting them out, I'm going D.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. That they are, I mean, I think they're at least still 2 years away from being like interesting, let alone fighting for a playoff spot.
Get me a wide receiver for Fernando and things may change next year.
Seriously, like, dude, Jalen Naylor, Trey Tucker, Jack Besh is your wide receiver room.
Also, Max Crosby was going to get traded, and then he got traded, but it fell through. Like,
yeah,
it's just an awkward situation. Like, are you going to, what's going to happen there?
Yeah, bizarre. Give me another division to go to.
We'll go AFC South.
All right, AFC South. Let's go to the Houston Texans. I think the Texans are going to be really good this year. That defense is a menace. There's just goblins everywhere. They got Reed Blankenship, the safety from the Philadelphia Eagles. Not their best safety, but a good starting safety. So they shored up the back end a little bit. Also added Logan Hall as a backup pass rusher. They drafted Caden McDonald, who I thought was maybe the best defensive tackle in this year's draft. They just kept adding on there. They also drafted my favorite offensive lineman in the class, and that's Keelan Rutledge. I think that dude is going to be awesome on their offensive line. He's going to start at center for them. They signed former Colt Braden Smith, former Browns guard as well, Wyatt Teller, who's old. So I think they did a lot for their offensive line.
Which they needed to do.
Oh, desperately. And they signed David Montgomery, or traded for David Montgomery, to be their new running back. They didn't make any major coaching changes, at least at the coordinator spots. I'm going to go with another B+ here for the Texans. They had a lot of work to do on their offensive line, and I don't think it's going to be a good unit. I think it can be about league average, because Teller, again, is old. They brought back Ed Ingram, who had a good year, but is not a good player overall. Rutledge is a rookie at center. We'll see about that. They didn't add any new pass catchers, which I thought was interesting. I like their pass catchers, but like I kind of thought they would add someone new just to add Foster Moreau at tight end, but he's a blocking tight end anyway. I thought they might add a new body there to try to give a little new confidence to CJ Stroud. That's what I thought for them, but I'll go B+ here.
Yeah, I'm going B, just similar to what you said. They're already a good team. So I think they just made themselves a little bit better.
Let's go with the Indianapolis Colts because they think they are a contender. I am, honest to goodness, Spencer, I'm going to get as close, I think, to an F as I can. I'm going to give this one a straight up D.
Yeah, I was going C-.
They added a couple nice players. Colby Wooden's a former Packer. He's useful. That's where Derek Nottie ended up, amazingly. Akeem Davis-Gaither is a good linebacker. Arden Key is a fine pass rush specialist. They're just going to do the Daniel Jones thing again. And they're expecting that a quarterback whose game is built on mobility is going to be just fine after a popped Achilles in the second half of last season. What? They didn't. I liked their draft. They had a good draft, I thought, but they just, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is insane to me. They're just going to try it with Daniel Jones. I'm going D, and that's probably lucky. I could have given them even worse.
Yeah, I'm right there with that C-.
The Jacksonville Jaguars, isn't it crazy there are 3 teams in the South that are interesting? I think that's the first time in my entire life that many teams in that division have been interesting. The Jaguars also did not have a first-round pick. Their first pick in the draft was a blocking tight end, Nate Borkricker. That was odd. They did not change anyone in their starting lineup. They are possibly going to change how often Travis Hunter plays defense, a little bit more there, a little bit less offensively. C-. They didn't have any picks, so it's hard. They didn't have any money in free agency available, so that makes it difficult. But at the same time, like, that's your own doing. You led to that. So yeah, I'm gonna go C- for the
Yeah, I'm gonna go C. I think Dane Jackson at corner, he's a rotational piece in there. They got some rotational defensive linemen in there as well, and then a good second running back in Chris Rodriguez to be in there as well. I think to spell Tutton.
Let's go real quick here because we're short on time before What Is Wrong With You. We'll go rapid fire through the remaining, what do we have, 5 teams here. Cincinnati Bengals, what you giving them? Defense is where they spent all their attention.
Yeah, I'm going to give them a B for their defense. I think they could go higher if they really put more attention on offense.
I am going to go. Yeah, I'm going to say this is my only A. To this point, anyway. I'm going to go with an A minus here because they needed defensive players, and all they went out and did was add Jonathan Allen, old but steady player. Dexter Lawrence, very good player up front. Boye Mafe, who's up and down but has plenty of potential still. Brian Cook, who's a good safety. Kyle Duggar is a fairly useful safety. Jaisir Taylor is a useful backup player and core special teamer. Like, they knew exactly what they needed, and they went out and got it. And I give them credit for that. I'm going to give them an A minus. Again, I don't know that it's going to be enough, but I think that's a good addition. Ravens, real quick. Jesse Minter, their new head coach. So they're going to change their offensive scheme a little bit as well with Declan Doyle, their new OC.
I'm giving them an A minus. I think getting the Matabike on defense and getting Trey Hendrickson, is huge. And then their offensive line, they obviously retooled letting the center go and getting Pinter from the Colts. I think that, and then they got the first round offensive lineman as well. So I think it's huge for them. I'm going to give them A minus.
I'll go with B plus for the Ravens. That's where I'm going to stick them. Pittsburgh, real quick. I am going to go D plus. I like Mike McCarthy. I hate that move for them. I don't like Aaron Rodgers coming back. I like them getting Michael Pittman. I like some of the other moves they've made, but too stagnant there. Don't like that. Yeah, not thrilled at all. Finally, wrapping things up in the East, the New England Patriots. They played for the Super Bowl. A lot of folks down on them. I kind of like their offseason, though. I like them getting A.J. Brown. I like them adding Romeo Doubs, who's a really nice second receiver. They added DJ Moore. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the Bills right here. They've tried to work on the offensive line. I'm going to go with a B plus for the Patriots as well.
Yeah, I'll give them a B plus.
Buffalo Bills, last one we got here. Their big addition on offense was DJ Moore because they love 5'11" receivers more than you could imagine. Their big ads on defense, D. Alford, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Bradley Chubb. C minus on this one. I like Bradley Chubb is your big pass rush addition. I don't know about that one, man. I'm going to go C minus for the Bills.
I'm giving them a C only because it looks like they built depth on the defense, which I think is good.
Any teams that you thought we should have given some higher grades to, maybe lower grades to, we would love to know. Hit us up on the text line, 785-272-9429, or drop us a line in the 580 Sports Talk YouTube comments. We have to get to a commercial break. What is wrong with you? Coming up next on 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk? Spencer and I have two news stories going head to head today. See if we can knock off the fish called Baja Blast. A fish in a backpack at a Taco Bell. Bizarre. All right, Spencer, you're up first for us today.
Now we're going to Bradenton, Florida. The Florida Highway Patrol arrested a man after an investigation into the theft of a moisture density gauge valued between 10 and 20K. FHP said it began an investigation on May 26 after their Bureau of Criminal Investigations and Intelligence received a tip of a private party sale through Facebook Marketplace of a moisture density gauge, which was listed by Marco Antonio Benitez Jr., 24, in Bradenton. A moisture density gauge is a device used to measure the density and inner structure of material. It's used to determine moisture levels of soil and asphalt. It is a controlled device, carries an integral radiological isotope of CS-137. Sounds dangerous. So basically they set up a sting operation. And they tried to get investigators then arranged a fake offer to purchase the gauge. After he failed to meet at the agreed time, state troopers conducted a detection screening from outside his home, which produced an industrial level alert of the presence of radioactive material. Troopers located the item in the residence with radioactive source remaining intact and undamaged. He has been charged with grand theft, one count of possession of a controlled radiation device without license. It's still unclear about how he got possession of the product to begin with.
I love that. As if like the people looking for this thing can't go online and see that you're trying to sell it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. My story for today is going to take us to Pennsylvania, where a volunteer firefighter in Montgomery County, PA, intentionally set 3 different fires within 30 hours, including one near the home of his former boss. And then he was part of the team that responded to 2 of the fires.
What?
29-year-old Justin Shawley of Souderton, Pennsylvania, is charged with arson, reckless burning or exploding, criminal trespass, recklessly endangering another person, and other related offenses. This began last Friday at 12:25 a.m. when the volunteer fire company responded to Foreman and Schoolhouse Roads in Franconia Township, where a large pile of wooden logs near the road had been set on fire. Later that same morning, about 4 hours later, there was a structure fire at Lumber Street and Wiley Avenue, about 50 feet from 2 lived-in homes on West Chestnut Street. There were 10 people inside the 2 homes at the time. One day later, there was another fire in the area of Harleysville Pike and Schoolhouse Road, so again, nearby at another large structure. So investigators determined, these 3 fires, something fishy, they're all connected. Investigators then analyzed the automated license plate reader databases of nearby, traffic lights and whatnot, and they noticed the same 2015 Ford Edge at each scene. That was the Ford Edge of one Justin Shawley. They arrived at his home, searched his car, and they ended up finding a fire starter log, other wooden logs. They found lighter fluid, etc., etc. He has been arrested. He is still in custody.
What a loon.
Decided not to post bail.
Yeah.
Dude, that's nuts. Like, I understand you're like pissed at your old boss or whatever, but brother, you're a firefighter. You have to know you could kill people doing this. So yeah, that's rough. Who you got for today? There's 2 good stories.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna lean with my story of the guy having some radiological what? Why would you even take possession of something like that? And then you try to sell it. It was a sting operation.
Like you can't leave a paper trail.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace is a paper trail.
Yeah. At least if he did it on Craigslist or something, like it would have taken them some time to find out who it was.
This is why people go to pawn shops to do stuff like this. Yeah, I'll lean with you. I'm with you on that.
But it doesn't beat.
Nah, the fish called Baja Blast.
It does not.
That one keeps the win. That's our winner again in What Is Wrong With You. Coming up on the other side of, that's one day left for that one to see if it's the winner. Coming up on the other side of this break, we'll hear from Eric Bieniemy here on 580 Sports Talk. Back on 580 Sports Talk, Eric Bieniemy is back in the saddle with the Kansas City Chiefs as their brand new, sort of, offensive coordinator. Let's hear what EB had to say earlier this week when he spoke to the media in his return to KC.
Good afternoon. Feels good being back at this podium. A lot of familiar faces that I haven't seen in a number of years. Feels good to be back home and also good to be back in this red shirt. With that said, I'm all ears.
Good to have you back. I want to ask you, during your time away, what do you feel like you've learned either being the OC in Washington, UCLA, and running backs coach with Chicago that has helped make you a better coach as you see him today?
I just think that when you go different places, there's a lot of things that you can learn. You learn the value of how you're treating people. On top of that, how you're engaging and interacting within the organization. I think all of that is important. And then just being open to new and different ways of doing things. I think that helps with growth. And sometimes, with all that, sometimes when you experience failure, it gives you a tremendous opportunity to hit the reset button, and it helps you to grow and push you forward. So with all that being said, I've had some great experiences at a number of places, whether it was in Washington or whether it was at UCLA back at the college game. And then having that opportunity to coach in Chicago and experiencing that and, watching those guys have the success that they have. So there's been a number of things, and I'm happy with the growth, and I'm just enjoying it and continue moving forward as we continue to progress.
Just following up on that, how does it feel though when Andy makes that call to you after the playoffs and wants to have you back here in Kansas City?
Obviously, me and the Big Red go back a long ways. I was a little shocked, but it was good. It was good talking to him. I had no idea. We had just finished the game, and obviously I was still working on just trying to get over what had taken place the previous evening. But, when the big man calls, you got to pick up and be ready to roll. So we're rolling.
Eric, we certainly asked you about the tone you set at practice, but I just wondered the importance of you establishing that now in the summer, especially with the introduction of the NFL for a lot of these guys.
Well, the thing is, first and foremost, we always want guys to come out and not take anything for granted. Just like we discuss all the time, there's an imaginary sign outside the door. We're hiring all applicants. But at the end of the day, we want these guys to make sure that they're reapplying every single day. We can't get comfortable being comfortable and not enjoying the fundamentals that we have to work on every single day. And I think that's more than anything that we have to do. And so we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But on top of that, we got to continue to work. We can't get bored with the little things that's going to help us to grow. And when I say the little things, it's just not necessarily taking place on the football field. It's how we enter the building. It's what we're doing in the weight room. It's what we're doing in the training room. It's what we're doing in our meeting room. So we got to make sure that we're not taking anything for granted, because those little things end up adding up for either good reasons or bad reasons. So we just want to make sure that our perception becomes our reality.
Eric, follow up on that just quickly. We got to see and hear your legendary voice during that sequence during there was 7-on-7 where you had 3 kind of boarding starts on a play. How do moments like that serve as teaching moments, and what could have happened at the time like that?
Well, I mean, it's always about over communicating clarity. One thing, when we get in the huddle, we need to know as a group what position we're playing. Something so simple, but because of that, just what I just said, the little things becomes a big thing because we're not over communicating with each other. Now there's a problem within the huddle, and that impacts everything. So you know what? You kick them off the field, and you let the next group go, because we don't have time to waste. We have to continue moving forward. But now we can utilize that particular moment, as a life lesson moving forward. Now, because if that was to happen on a game day, hell, we hear it from you guys, right? We burned the timeout, coming out after a timeout. I mean, hell, we get a 15-yard penalty. Everybody's booing the hell out of us. I mean, it'd be bad. You know what I mean? So those lessons need to be taught when those situations present themselves.
You talked about communication. Coach Reed said that you bring a different type of energy. Everyone can feel it out there. Patrick talked about the first time you guys were talking, when you came back, that he's ready to run through a wall. Just how did that make you feel as far as just the energy that you bring?
Well, first of all, it's I don't know if I bring energy. I just enjoy what I do. You know, to me, it's fun. It's always a challenge, but more than anything, the expectations have always been high. And I expect our guys to perform at a certain level. I expect them to handle and conduct themselves in a professional manner. And with all that said, we just need to make sure that we understand it's not about the individual. It's about the greater group and then the whole. And we need to gain a complete understanding of that. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we got some great players. These guys are doing a great job. But now let's make sure that we're sacrificing and doing all the necessary things that's going to help the man sitting next to me to be better in a defining moment. So it's all about over communication and making sure guys understand the value of the man sitting next to you.
Coach, what have you learned about Kenneth Walker in your time in January?
Very competitive. Very competitive. He's a hard worker. Does not take anything for granted. He's what you want. You love his approach in the building. He's very professional in the classroom, and he hates being wrong, you know? So you love all of that about him. Now it's just about making sure he has the what's, the whys, and the hows down on how we gonna get him to be the player that we need him to be. But the thing that I love, he does not take anything for granted. The kid works his tail off in the classroom, in the weight room, and on the field as well.
We'll do just a couple more.
And I said the same thing about DeMarco Murray. So, how's he transitioning?
DeMarco's doing a hell of a job. He's doing a great job. I've had an opportunity to know DeMarco for a long time. Obviously, we tried to recruit him when I was at UCLA many moons ago. We didn't have enough money to get him. I guess now we have money. But DeMarco brings a tremendous amount of experience to that room. He's done a great job as a coach while he was at the University of Oklahoma. And obviously, he has playing experience at a high level. So it's good to have somebody around like that in that room that players can relate to. So I am very happy and satisfied with him.
We'll go Nate, Pete, and Nick.
I got two quick ones, Eric. Just what is one thing that you want Kenneth to get better at? And secondly, what has your message been since you joined the team for Rashee Rice about his upcoming season?
Okay. So first of all, what I want Kenneth to work at is just understanding that we just have to become a better player when the ball is not in our hands. Okay. I know exactly what he's going to do and what he's capable of when the ball is in his hands. So now when the ball is not in his hands, what value is he going to add? We have to do a great job protecting the quarterback, and then we got to do a great job of being a route runner on the perimeter. So those are the little things that we're working on. And understanding that too, we're working on him being the efficient runner that we want him to be within our scheme. And you know what? He's doing a heck of a job. So he'll continue to work on all three of those phases. And so it's been very satisfying. Now, as far as Rashee Rice is concerned, I'm going to leave everything with Coach Reed's quote and statement that he made and leave it at that. Okay.
On the field, without Rice, it seems Worthy is everywhere. I guess what are your initial impressions of working with him, and I guess how good can Worthy be?
You know what? I think all of those guys, and we're talking about new coaches. Coach Chad O'Shea is doing an outstanding job as well with that group. Xavier's doing a heck of a job. He's accepted the challenge. He's working. He's doing all the little things the right way, and he's continuing to grow. He'll make a mistake here and there, but I love the energy that he brings. I love his initial quickness. I just like the kid's approach and his personality. And a part of this too, and I didn't say this at the beginning, I'm studying folks because I'm trying to get to know the group. I know the Pats, I know the Creeds, I know the Kelseys of the world, I know the Noahs, I know Trey, I know all those guys. But now it's also about observing and studying and spending time with the other players and just getting to know them. And I'm very impressed with Xavier so far. We still got a long ways to go, but so far, so good.
Two more, Nick.
Eric, for you, with you, DeMarco, and Chad, how do you think you guys can help this offense add some new innovation and wrinkles to it?
Well, I just think that more than anything, we just need to make sure, and I know this sounds very high schoolish, this is an answer I'm about to give you. We got to get back to doing the fundamental things the right way, okay? The footwork detail, okay? When it comes to just O-line play, the footwork detail when it comes to quarterback and running back play, all right? And then what is our approach on the perimeter when we're running routes? How are we going to defeat this certain coverage? So we got to make sure that we just not out there going running plays for the sake of running plays. No, we're focusing on detailing all the little things that's going to help us to be efficient in what we need to accomplish. And so that's the main focus. There is no big picture right now. If we can't get off the ball, and block somebody. So we got to learn how to play with a flat back and come off running off the ball as far as the O-line is concerned. And then speed off the ball on the perimeter when we are throwing the ball. On top of that, we got to do a great job protecting the quarterback. We got to keep that pocket integrity. Backs got to be willing to step up in protection and be physical with protection. So I know all that sounds high schoolers, but those are the little things that we're focusing on, because if we can't do those things the right way, it don't matter who the hell we play. So we got to make sure that we can address those issues and get back to the bread and butter of how this game was played.
Coach, it feels like in the city, accountability and your name are synonymous. What does that word mean to you, and how do you implement it into a culture?
Well, it means, like I've said before, indirectly, we impact each other's lives, okay? So it's about making sure that guys are doing the right things the right way when required to. Because if I'm giving them the wrong information and the wrong insight, I'm screwing over them. And I'm not giving this organization an opportunity to be successful. In return, if a player is not taking his work home and studying, all right, and coming to work not prepared for the day, guess what? He's screwing over us. So we got to make sure that we understand that we impact each other, okay? It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the greater good of everybody in this organization, because what we do, all right, impacts each other. So we got to make sure that we're focused on doing the right things the right way. Okay. All right. Guys, take care.
So that was Eric Bieniemy, Chiefs offensive coordinator, speaking to the media this week at OTAs. Let's get to a timeout. When we come back on the other side of this break, we'll wrap up the 4 o'clock hour of 580 Sports Talk. Wrapping up this hour of 580 Sports Talk, Brendan and Spencer here with you. Coming up next hour, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines and the playoff roundups, NBA action from last night, NHL action coming up this evening. We also will hear from Chiefs wide receivers coach Chad O'Shea. He spoke to the media this week. And we will play this week's edition of Either Or Over Under. Don't forget, we want to hear from you as well on the text line. 785-272-9429 is that text line number. You can also drop us a line on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of our YouTube channel. Before we get to the top of the hour, I want to remind you to visit my friends at Eagle Auto Wash. When your car needs to get cleaned up, need that all taken care of, get the dirt, the grime, the mud off of it, you go check out my friends at Eagle Auto Wash. And you want to go frequently, which you should, to keep that nice shine on your car, an unlimited wash pass with all the different levels they can offer means they're going to get your car cleaned to the exact degree you want it to be every single time. I love it for my Rogue. You'll love it for your car as well. So check out Eagle Auto Wash and soar with the Eagle once a week. We've got to get to the news. We'll pay a few bills. We'll come on back, start next hour with headlines here on 580 Sports Talk. 580 Sports Talk coming your way on this Thursday afternoon. I'm Brendan Dworzinski. On the other side of the glass, that is Spencer Dupuis. Dan Lucero is off today. He'll be back with us coming up on Monday.
He's coming back tomorrow.
Is he?
He's hosting 3 to 5, I think, tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was unaware of that particular plan. I thought it was all you tomorrow.
I have to work from 3 to 4.
Oh,
I have
well.
ag to do.
Well, surprise! You'll get to hear from Dan tomorrow, apparently. No one includes me on anything anymore, damn it. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's Spencer. I'm Brendan. No Dan today, at the very least. Coming up in this 5 o'clock hour of the show, we've got our 580 Sports Talk headlines coming your way in just a few moments. Plenty of news from around the world of sports to get to. We'll also hear from Chiefs wide receivers coach Chad O'Shea. Thought it'd be interesting to hear from some rare new blood on the coaching staff for the Kansas City Chiefs, and get his thoughts on this wide receiver room. So we will hear from Coach O'Shea in a little bit. We'll also play some either or over under, and we want to hear from you and your thoughts on whatever is going on and whatever's being talked about on the show today. So hit us up on the text line. You know the number, 785-272-9429. And you can check us out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, search 580 Sports Talk. Subscribe to the channel while you're there. Watch the show, hang out with us. Leave a comment, your thoughts on whatever is going on the show today. All right, Spence, should we get to our headlines for today?
Let's do it.
All right, our 580 Sports Talk headlines for today. We've got an update on Rashee Rice and his status in jail.
12 more days.
I think it is important again to note that the Chiefs' number one wide receiver is in jail. And they decided, no, we don't need more pass catchers. Why would we need that? All right, from KCTV5 in Kansas City, Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice is receiving physical therapy on his recently operated on knee while in custody in Dallas. According to court documents filed back on May 28th in Dallas County, Rice's lawyers requested two things during his incarceration from the state. They requested that the 26-year-old get permission to be transported to Parkland Hospital to receive therapy on his knee, which he was not going to be able to participate in OTAs anyway because of his knee. Also was not able to be there because he's in jail. Rice had surgery to remove loose debris from his right knee the week prior to him being caught violating probation. The second request was for him to be moved from an isolated cell and into the general population. Since he's a celebrity, I assume that's why. Again, Rice was taken into police custody after testing positive for THC, which violated the terms of his probation. He is scheduled to be released from jail on June 16th. His probation violation resulted in him missing voluntary OTAs and mandatory minicamp, the latter of which will take place in Kansas City next week. So this is significant for the Chiefs in the sense that they didn't really know what Rice was going to be able to do. Yeah. Now, this is better than nothing for his knee, but it's also not quite working with Rick Burkholder and the team in Kansas City.
Not quite working with, an NFL training staff.
Right.
Rehab.
Man.
But it's something.
It's something.
He's not just sitting in there like hurting all day.
Man, it's unfair, and I understand that. Sometimes players just can't go home, man. Like, you can't go back there. And it's not fair to say that, and it sounds judgmental. Kevin Durant is a great example of this. A couple times when he's been a free agent or has, at the 400 different places he's asked for a trade from, Washington is often a team that comes up. Now, the Wizards, historically, for most of history, not exactly great. Yeah. Signs pointing up. Reason to be excited. They're going to get the number one pick this year. Okay. But it's often, maybe he wants to go back to D.C. Wouldn't he love to go to D.C.? I bet he would love to go to D.C. And he has always said, no, I don't want to go back there.
Yeah.
Like, people are going to come out of the woodwork asking for money and for stuff from me if I go back there. I deal with enough of that. I don't want to do that. The Chicago Black...
He relishes his time in D.C. when his teams visit D.C.
Sure. But that's not like...
living there and working there and
they know where I live.
every day.
Right. The Chicago Blackhawks, when they're Patrick Kane is still in the NHL, but when he was a Blackhawk, he was accused of sexual assault in Buffalo, his hometown. The Blackhawks actually put a rule in place during the offseason. You are not going to Buffalo, New York, because he was A, very handsomely paid. B, he was a superstar on a dynasty winning, Stanley Cup winning dynasty, and was incredibly important to their success. And he's lucky he got off pretty much scot-free from the whole thing. And they told him, you are not going to Buffalo or you're in trouble with us. And he didn't. And they essentially hired babysitters for him, which you shouldn't need for adults. I understand that. But clearly Rashee Rice has some folks down there in Texas he probably shouldn't be spending time with.
Yeah, let's say that.
It's just a bad situation, man. It's a really, really bad situation. But at least his knee will not be completely destroyed when he gets back. So that's nice, I suppose. Bad situation, man. Very, very bad. What's your first headline for us today?
You want the KU headlines?
No, go ahead. Take them.
All right. We've got 2 KU headlines about baseball super regionals this weekend.
Always been a baseball school.
They're expanding the Hog again.
They had to, man. Absolutely had to.
So nicknamed the Backyard. There was a new fan area beyond left field fence area added for the regionals. Lawn chairs were allowed to be brought in. They brought in 1 set of bleachers. You could bring in, stuff as well. There was concessions back there. It was basically disconnected from the stadium, unfortunately, just because of how it was, where it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, you would go in and they had bathrooms there and concessions there. They are adding more bleacher seating in there. Additionally, they are also for the super regionals introducing the introduction of the backyard decks. The backyard decks will be located in right field and right center field. There will be 3 decks that are standing room only. Fans will, with tickets to the backyard decks, will enter through a gate in the right field. The location of the visitors' bullpen is now in their player development structure, their hitting facility. That's a reserved standing room fan area. I believe also an alumni area under there as well. But yeah, they're doing everything they can to pack out the Hog.
So I have seen some things on social media that it is extremely difficult to get tickets to this. It has been very tough. I appreciate KU doing everything they possibly can to get as many people in as possible. But also, regular fans were never going to have a chance at getting in here. So I appreciate KU doing all they can to fit more people in.
Well, I think part of the fitting more people in is that they had to give more relegated tickets to Oklahoma than they did to Arkansas. Because Arkansas were really, for the most part, the biggest fan base that traveled. There were a few here and there of the other
Missouri State and Northeastern.
State and Northeastern, but a bulk of the people came from Arkansas because 1, a big baseball fan base, and 2, obviously
bigger fan base in general.
Yes.
Also, there's a ton of Arkansas alums in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Tons of them.
So they had to do something to get more KU fans in there for the loss of what they were going to have. So that was part of the reason. But yeah, so that's going to be huge this weekend. I'm going back. I got credentialed yesterday, so I'll be back at the Hog.
So make sure you're following along with Spencer on our social media channels, 580 Sports Talk, his own personal one as well, and also checking out 580WIBW.com. Have some write-ups up there as well.
Speaking of KU baseball, junior shortstop Tyson LeBlanc played really well during the regional. He's been named the National Collegiate Baseball Writers Association Hitter of the Month for May. He becomes the first KU player in program history to earn a National Hitter of the Month honor from them. He hit .382 this past month, 26 hits, 15 runs scored, while obviously helping them clinch the Big 12 regular season championship, win the Big 12 tournament championship, and the first ever Lawrence Regional Championship. He had 6 doubles, 8 homers with 20 RBIs, drew 11 walks, led them on an on-base percentage at .468. He also had 2 stolen bases and a slugging percentage of .824 during the month.
He is an unbelievable player, man.
Yeah.
He's so freaking good. I saw something the other day. It was breaking down I think it must have been in the regional finals, all of the draft prospects, like the top 200 guys in each regional final. He was the only KU guy in the top 200. He was, I'm trying to remember who it was. I don't think it was Keith Law, but he was prospect 130 essentially for this next draft. So that's projecting top 5 rounds probably. So that's a pretty good spot for him to end up being in. And yeah, I know he hasn't spent his whole career at KU, JUCO guy, obviously, but man, that program's going to remember him for a long, long time. Let's get to some news from the NFL. A couple of big extensions over the last 24 hours or so. First, last night, the Pittsburgh Steelers extended for 4 years and $42 million. Tight end Darnell Washington, he is getting $21 million, so half of that total contract guaranteed. Last season, he had a new career high, 31 catches and 364 yards working with Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers liked him quite a bit, and they are bringing him back for another year. And again, he will be working with Aaron Rodgers. Talked about that a little bit earlier when I gave them a D+ for their offseason. Darnell Washington is gigantic. He is 6'7", 264 pounds. He is an offensive lineman in stature, little light for a lineman, but he's like an offensive lineman in stature, but he's good enough to actually play tight end. Really, really fun player. He was really useful for them. You might look at those stats and say, like, you're giving $42 million, 21 guaranteed to a dude whose career high is 364 yards. He has 2 career touchdowns. Yeah, he's a very key part of that offense, and clearly Mike McCarthy likes him too, if they were willing to give him a 4-year extension on top of his rookie deal, and McCarthy's never even coached him before. So good player. That's a good move, I think, for Pittsburgh. Pretty affordable, all things considered. Then earlier today, this morning, in fact, my boy, Christian Watson, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, he has agreed to an extension with Green Bay, $110.5 million for Christian Watson over the course of 4 years. He also has a few $1 million left on 1 year on his current contract. So this keeps him in Green Bay through the 2030 season. He is now tied to Green Bay with over $110 million in total value. Watson tore his ACL late in 2024. I believe it was actually week 18 of 2024. Only played 10 games this past season and still ended up with career highs in catches, yards, had 6 touchdowns. He, to me, is the ultimate, and trust me, I know this. He is the ultimate, you got to watch the film guy. He gets open downfield. He's tall. He's fast. He can block on the outside as well. He's never put up crazy numbers because he has missed a lot of time due to injury. It was a bummer. He had had some weird hamstring injury. One of his hamstrings was shorter than the other. So he had to go through some like bizarre physical therapy to get it all evened out. And he did. And he was healthy for most of 2024. And then he tore his ACL at the end of that year. So he's missed a lot of time due to injury, but he's a great player. Packers have built their entire passing game around him being a deep threat. He's also the second wide receiver Green Bay has extended this offseason, along with Jaden Reed, who got a 3-year, $50 million contract. So both those dudes, Reed was drafted a year after Watson. His deal will end a year now before Christian Watson. So Green Bay flashing cash to the wide receivers. I keep getting texts and messages on social media. What do you think of this? Good. I like it. I'm in favor of it. Go Pack, go. All right, Spencer, what do you have for our next headline?
Yeah, if you watched the NBA Finals last night, you know there was a disturbance during the game.
Yeah, there was.
Ran onto the Frost Bank Center court during the fourth quarter of the game Wednesday night and attempted to take a selfie with San Antonio Spurs star Victor Wembanyama. He was arrested and given a lifetime ban from all NBA arenas. So I don't know if he was like live videoing this or something, but man, he didn't even get up to Wemby's head. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious.
Literally just to his neck. Like, come on, man.
It was the funny part of this was watching the reaction. Like, Wemby started laughing.
Yeah.
He thought it was funny. Mitchell Robinson of the Knicks, had such a funny physical expression. They showed it in slow-mo after it happened. Mitchell Robinson's face was so funny. This is also so stupid. Like, was that worth it? To this guy, was that worth it? That you can never again go to an NBA game?
Yeah, apparently he had a buddy he was with who also got a lifetime ban as well.
Like, if that man is what is meaningful to you, that, hey, I'm going to go and be an ass on TV and run up to these players and all of that. And that's going to be, I never want to go to a basketball game again, then good for him. It's just so stupid, dude. Unbelievable.
30 seconds of fame for a lifetime ban.
I don't even know. Well, more than 30, because they actually had to like slow the game down. They had to do a jump, like they had to reset everything.
All right,
it was
5 minutes of fame for a lifetime ban.
Yeah, just ridiculous. This one from FIFA, from the World Cup, because why would they make this a good actually, I can update you on this. I think this has changed. So this morning, I have a new headline for you right now. This morning, there was a report from FIFA that they were no longer going to allow fans to bring their own water bottles into stadiums for the World Cup. By the way, do you know when the World Cup starts?
Like very, very, very soon.
Next week, 1 week from today.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Soon.
I had no clue.
I knew it was June, but I didn't know when.
Yeah, I had no idea that it was starting that soon. Anyway, they originally announced they were no longer going to allow fans to bring in their own water. They have actually flipped this around after they had been essentially raked over the coals because of this. FIFA informed World Cup ticket holders later this morning they have updated their code of conduct and So they had updated their code of conduct, said reusable water bottles no longer allowed. Now they have since changed course. And this is going to be a disaster, I think. Like, it really seems like this is not going well.
Yeah, the whole thing, right? Like, the fact that you've spread everything out, and I keep seeing things on social media, especially here in Kansas, in the Kansas City, the greater Kansas City area.
Yep.
Geographical wise, I'm seeing things where, so can I walk from Power and Light to the stadium?
No. Not quite. If you leave a day earlier, maybe.
There's Google Maps for a reason.
Yeah. It's
whenever I'm going somewhere, I Google Maps where I'm staying versus where I'm going to want to go. Come on, people.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Before we get to the playoff roundup, you want to give us one more headline here?
We're going back to the top.
Yeah.
Yes,
some broadcasting news.
Yeah, Wichita State has named their new voice of the Shockers. That will be Wichita State alum, Wichita native, Denning Gehrig. He will take over after 46 years of broadcasting for Mike Kennedy as the voice of the Shockers, who took you listeners through 46 years of Shocker history.
Did you guys talk about it on the show after Mike Kennedy did his final game a couple weeks ago?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, just really cool, really neat that Wichita State saved the audio and posted it for everyone to hear.
They're also
just a pro, man.
They're also having a public celebration to honor Kennedy.
Good. A legend, absolute legend of the business. Shocker fans, you're so fortunate to have that guy. A friend of the program. We had Mike on a few years ago to talk about the NCAA tournament. That must have been the 21 tournament. That must have been that year he came on and talked with us before they ended up losing to Drake in one of the first 4 games. But no, great guy, awesome broadcaster.
I didn't realize he was a sports information guy for them. Like,
yeah,
that was his current role until this.
Yeah, no, really, really cool. And now, hopefully, some a great new era with Denning Gehrig down there at Wichita State. So congratulations to him. All right, Spencer, let's round out our headlines today with our playoff roundup.
It's time for the 580 Sports Talk playoff roundup.
We start the playoff roundup with last night in the association. The New York Knicks trailed by 7 at the break, but came from behind, and despite a hobbled Jalen Brunson, knocked off the San Antonio Spurs by 10 in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. I don't think Brunson was all that great for most of the night, even before the injury, and which happened pretty early, to be fair. But he got hot when it mattered late. Karl Anthony Towns was really good. Really, really good for Cat. Josh Hart had a big game, had 15 rebounds in the contest. Victor Wembanyama was not good. He's incredible. I think he's going to bounce back this weekend in Game 2. I guess that's tomorrow night, actually. But, man, he was not very good in that game last night. Took way too many threes. I think it was 9 of 21 shooting. That's just – or 6 of 21 shooting. That's just not going to get it done if you're the San Antonio Spurs. Game 2 comes up tomorrow. Dylan Harper was really good and then didn't see the floor nearly enough in the fourth quarter. Impressed by the Knicks. I thought this might be a Spurs blowout in this series, but the Knicks, man, they showed a lot of toughness there. Brunson certainly showed a lot of grit and toughness. Karl Anthony Towns was on Inside the NBA after the game, and they were talking to him about his feelings going into his first finals game. And he actually gave a really beautiful quote about feeling like his late mother was there in the building and, getting some momentum from that. It was honestly a really beautiful comment from Kat. Game 2, again, coming up tomorrow. I'm going to take the Spurs in that one. I won't be here to make a pick on tomorrow's show. So I'll say Spurs, even it up, going to MSG next week. But very impressive outing from the Knicks last night. The NHL, the Stanley Cup Final, Game 2 tonight. Vegas came from behind to win Game 1. Did you watch the first game of the Stanley Cup Final?
Yeah, I did.
Pretty thrilling end to that one for Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, it was a jam-packed scoring game. I mean, from the start, 25 seconds in, first goal happened, and that's how you start the Stanley Cup Final. Goals.
So I think it's fair, and I'm not super in the weeds with all of this, as you know, but I think it's probably fair to say Carolina is the pretty clear better team, but Vegas is so hot right now.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas was at a point where they didn't know they were going to make the playoffs. They fired their head coach.
They only won 39 games all year.
Yeah, and now I'm forgetting the dang guy that stepped in to be their head coach.
Torts.
Tortorella, He's had like 4 or 5 losses in his whole time as head coach. 20-something and 45, I think.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The funny thing about the NHL, especially as someone who doesn't follow the game super close, it feels like there's 5 head coaches in hockey. If you had told me Tortorella was coaching like the Senators and also the Lightning and Vegas, you're like, oh yeah, sure. Like I only know the name of about 5 coaches, if that.
Apparently, he was going to coach the Seattle PWHL team and then just dipped out on them to go back and coach in the NHL.
PWHL being the Professional Women's Hockey League. Yeah, I mean, he's won a lot of games. Yeah, this is the 6th different team he's coached. Flyers, Blue Jackets, Canucks, Lightning, Rangers, now Knights.
Yeah.
That's incredible run that they're on. Game 2 coming up tonight at 7 o'clock. How about a little Women's College World Series for you?
I got a lot to dump on this game.
Oh, okay. All right, so the background for you. Texas beat Texas Tech yesterday 7-3. Texas Tech actually scored a run on a home run in the top of the first, then gave up 5 in the bottom of the first. Caitlin Terry got the start, got batted, hit around. Nyjah came in the first inning. She was only credited, I believe, with 1 of the 5 runs. She did give up several hits. She
gave up 2 hits.
2 hits. She acquired a couple runners on base. Here's my takeaway from this. I watched the condensed highlight. I saw part of the game, but I watched the condensed broadcast today.
Yeah.
They might have lost anyway. But oh my God, the fielding was pathetic for Texas. They
put a left fielder that hadn't played in weeks in left field, and she misplaced. Like, what do you expect?
Yeah, okay. So that play, right before it, Nyjah gives up. It's a hard grounder, but it's a grounder to first. It hits the color commentator. I don't know who it was. My apologies. She was right.
Mendoza.
Yeah.
Jessica.
Was it her?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first base player should have been able to hit her body in front of the ball. That's where you're taught day 1 baseball, softball, right?
Yeah.
Get your body in front of it if you can. She doesn't. Tries a backhand. Hits in her glove still. She can't squeeze it. Pops out on course. They gave a hit for that play, which was crazy. It was a clear error. Then, better later, left fielder is already out of position, takes a bad jump on the ball, flies over her head. That should have been a can of corn easy out. Instead, it's an extra base hit, couple runs score. What are we doing? My biggest takeaway from the Women's College World Series this year is I hate Texas Tech coach. Like, what are we doing? Constantly wondering what the hell is this guy doing?
I have a very big gripe with all this. So
all right.
Dan and I talked about this on the show the other day about Texas Tech going into the Women's College World Series Championship Series.
Mm-hmm.
And last year, obviously, it seemed like all they had was Nyjah. And her arm, just ran out of gas.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's fair. Stanford was the same way. Like you ride the same player for 5 months or 4 months. Like, yeah, eventually she's going to get broken down.
So
it's amazing she could go that far.
I see what Glasgow was trying to do, but it's been very clear to me. And if you look at the box score and you watch some of the games, Terry, great pitcher. I think she's got another year of eligibility left. I think she came in as a junior, transferred in. But it just seems to me every single time she's getting in the game in the whole Women's College World Series, it's just been disaster for her, unfortunately. And Nyjah comes in and settles it down. So last night, Terry gets the start, but Gary Glasgow didn't tell either player until right before the game. They were both warming up as usual. And I have a synopsis on this. I don't want to go too deep into this, but there is a video clip that was seen on ESPN and went on social media of Gary, whatever his name is, Jerry Glasgow, the coach, having some, getting into it a little bit with Nyjah about going off the pitching script and not listening to the pitching coach, giving the signals, changing the pitch.
Yep.
And in the press conference, he was asked about it, and he said, we have a pitching coach for a reason that I pay a pitching coach. Do you know who the pitching coach is?
Isn't it a relative?
It's his daughter. So I don't know if he was a little mad yesterday and didn't want to start her, but then he brought her in because he had to. And then he decided to take her out and burn her and be like, she can't pitch at all today. She's going to go tomorrow. So I don't understand his coaching philosophy.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
But I hope she pitches tonight, and I hope she pitches very well.
Agreed. I'm right there with you. That'll do it for the playoff roundup in our 580 Sports Talk headlines. While we have a moment, this came in within the last 10 minutes, an update, a weather update for you here on 580 WIBW from the National Weather Service out of Topeka. A tornado warning has been issued here in the state, valid until 5:45, so for another 12 minutes, including towns such as Olsburg until 5:45. A tornado has been observed in the area northeast of Riley and in the neighboring area south of Randolph along Kansas Highway 77. The tornado has been observed. Quarter-sized hail is possible in the area. Please get to the lowest level of your home. This is, again, a tornado has been spotted as part of this storm northeast of Riley, south of Randolph, and the tornado warning currently including Olsburg. That will extend until 5:45 tonight. Let's get to a timeout. When we come back, we're going to hear from Chiefs wide receiver coach Chad O'Shea, some new blood on the Chiefs coaching staff. Here's what he had to say about the wide receiver group. That comes up next on 580 Sports Talk. Brendan and Spencer here with you on 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday afternoon. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, spending some of your Thursday afternoon hours, whether you're listening along on 580 AM across the state of Kansas and further north. Got a report in from our pal Jake Laban, traveling up north. Heard us all the way up in Nebraska City.
Wow.
It's the big stick, man. Blowtorch.
Gotta love it.
Going worldwide. But whether you're listening along on 580 AM, 104.9 FM, online at 580WIBW.com, or checking us out on the 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, we appreciate you hanging out with us today. Wanted to hear today from Chad O'Shea, the new wide receivers coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a unit that just on the show today, when I was saying I can't go above a B- for this Chiefs offseason because they have not done enough with their pass catcher group, whether that's wide receiver or tight end. You brought up, hey, for our grades, can we include coaches here? And yes, absolutely. And if Chad O'Shea is really good at his job, maybe that's enough to fix, quote unquote, this wide receiver room. And I brought up a point. I saw this on social media right around the start of free agency when the Chiefs were making some moves and, obviously brought in Tonga and brought in Gilman and Kohu and all these guys defensively, but left the coaching staff pretty much the same. Whereas the offense, you had to upgrade at running back, obviously, but your offensive line still the same. Your tight end room exactly the same. Wide receiver almost exactly the same. Coaching staff, though, very different. New wide receiver coach, new running back coach, new, again, quote unquote, offensive coordinator. And I saw somebody say they thought that was an indication that the Chiefs believed their issues last year on defense were based on player personnel, and on offense they thought was about coaching, which I thought was a very interesting way to break that down. So if Chad O'Shea is who the Chiefs think he is, then maybe that is going to move this offense in a direction that I really desperately hope they are going to move toward. So let's hear from
Before that,
just
want to let the public know the tornado warnings have been canceled.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So very good news for folks just northwest of us here in the capital city. But without further ado, let's get to Chad O'Shea, Chiefs' new wide receiver coach, speaking to the media at OTAs.
So what's it like being back? A lot of things have changed, obviously, since you were here before, but what did you watch like from afar on the Chiefs and how exciting is it?
Yeah, first of all, it's outstanding to be back. I am so happy to be here. I know my first day of work, I walked into the building so excited to walk in the door and get started with Coach Reed and be a part of this program. And every day since, it's been the same for me. Just, from afar, the tremendous amount of respect that I've had for this program and what Coach Reed's accomplished and what he's built here is something that I wanted to be a part of and had an opportunity to be a part of. And I can't say enough great things about the experience so far. It's been great. And then especially, for me, it's full circle. I was here, obviously, in 2003 as a volunteer starting off that year, and then was able to be a part of Coach Ramil's staff. So for myself and my family, it's really special. It's full circle for us to come back to a place that we really, really like.
What do you feel like you've learned in some of your previous tests, including Cleveland, where you were last year, that makes you better wide receiver?
Yeah, I think that, first of all, it has to do with the people that I was around. We were fortunate to have a really good staff led by Coach Stefanski there at the Browns. So because I was surrounded by some really good people, I learned so much from them. One being how to deal with some adversity, because we didn't have as much success maybe as some other teams, or as much success as we wanted to have. And I learned how to handle adversity and how to be able to adjust and move forward. So that was something that I learned there.
Chad, obviously one of the first things you had to do is just study the roster and what you had. What was your process like just to getting to know what this building currently has?
Yeah, I've been very, as a outsider looking in, I've always had a lot of respect for the roster that's been built here, especially at the receiver position. So I was so excited to get started, and I was excited because of the variety of skill sets that the receiver position offers here. I think there's guys that do a lot of things well and do different things well. So that was exciting for me just to jump right in, and obviously had respect on the outside looking in, but now I get a chance to really work with these guys, get in the meeting room, get on the field, and they have not disappointed me. And the one thing that's been outstanding about the whole group, and I know Coach Reed believes strongly in it, is the way that they work. They've been tremendous as far as their work ethic and their attitude and the way they've accepted coaching. You know, it might be a different style maybe than what they've had or didn't have, and they've accepted that, and they've done a great job of that.
Is there an example of that, Chad?
When you talk about from what you see from afar, what you saw from afar, your first impression of when you see, an Xavier or a Taekwondo, and now you come here and you see a Cyrus Allen and some of the rookies, what's your impression right off the bat when you see them here?
Yeah, I mean, it's even more than I thought. You know, I mean, when you talk about Xavier Worthy, I knew he was fast, but when you work with him on the field in drills, I mean, I try to throw it as quick as I can when he's running. So he's, tremendous amount of speed. Obviously, that's the skill set he brings with some other things. But we have guys across the board that all bring things to the table that we're looking forward to developing. For example, a rookie, Cyrus Allen, has worked hard. He's got a very long way to go, but he brings a different skill set than maybe the next guy. So, I'm just really excited to work with the group because they all do bring something to the table and they can help our team win.
What are some other attributes that Xavier Worthy brings other than his speed that'll help him blossom into the receiver that we want him to be?
Yeah, I think the first thing is what you don't see, and that's off the field. I mean, he is tremendous in the classroom. His preparation so far has been outstanding. He's very coachable. He's not an error repeater, so we correct mistakes and he moves on very quickly. So that's something that I don't think you see, when somebody's watching the film or watching from the stands, is how good he is in his preparation. That's number one. Number two, I've been very excited or impressed with his ball skills. He catches the ball very well, both short and at all three levels, short, intermediate, and obviously the deep passes, which you guys saw some of that today. We were able to connect on preparation and who he is and what he brings to the table there is outstanding, like I said. And then probably his ball skills just jump out at me. I obviously know about the speed, but I was excited to how well he's caught the football.
You mentioned dealing with adversity. This is an offense that hasn't performed the way it wanted to the last couple of years. Do you have expectations, goals, or are there marching orders about what you want to see out of this group this year?
Yeah, I think that my message to the group is we're going to stay in the present. We're going to manage our expectations, which I try to do as a coach too. I just try to stay day to day, and we try to be very intentional on working on something one day, one specific thing that we can get better at. And I think that's the way to go. Just stay in the present, not looking too much to the forward. We're definitely not looking back, right? We're just going to stay day to day. And if the players can find something to work on, which I'm a part of that, making sure that we develop them and get them to improve, and we can just do one thing each day and become better and stay in the present, I think that ultimately we'll reach the goals that we want to.
Last two, let's start with
Yeah, Chad, obviously you're a very vocal coach on the field there. Where does that coaching philosophy and that passion come from?
I think I love the game of football, and I love teaching, and I love being around the players. I'm so excited to be able to learn and be under Coach Reed. I mean, there hasn't been a day I haven't learned from him. So, my energy and what you see is because I love this game, and I am so very fortunate to be a part of this and be the receiver coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't take that for granted, and I'm going to bring my very, very best every day. The players know they're going to get their very best, and that's from the classroom to the field. That's what they're going to get, and that's because I do love the game, and I want them to improve every day.
Was that still easy to do being the new guy on the staff?
I think that, Coach Reed's been great about, understanding there's different personalities on the team and on the coaching staff. So, I've had an opportunity to work with Eric Bieniemy before. So we were together. So we had some familiarity on how each other works and those things. So that was good, at least having somebody here. I had worked with Brendan Daly on 2 staffs prior as the linebacker coach that's here now. So, I think they let you be you, and I appreciate that about them. And I'm going to bring my very best every day for the staff and the players.
Steve.
Coach, you have quite the resume of the players that you coach, being that you have a lot of young receivers in that room. How do you instill some of that same philosophy that you've taught those other guys that you coached before into those to build that foundation?
It starts with having a very specific belief and philosophy, and I try to keep it very simple, and that is these guys, the job, they know it, is to get open, catch the ball, and compete in the run game, and we're going to be as detailed and dependable as we can for the team. We're going to put the team first, we're going to work hard every day, and we're going to improve. And I think if you truly just put it in that category, regardless of who the player is, whether they're the Pro Bowl player or the player that's trying to make the practice squad, that's a formula for success that I've been fortunate to have in the past, of just keeping it really simple for the players. And again, staying in the present, not looking too much to the future, and just trying to improve every day.
That's Chad O'Shea, new wide receivers coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll tell you this, he said all the right things.
He did.
I don't know how much that's going to matter in the end, but he said all the right things, so hard to complain about that part at the very least. We have to get to a commercial break. A quick round of either or, over under to wrap up the show is coming up next here on 580 Sports Talk. Brendan and Spencer here with you, 5:50 on this Thursday afternoon. Final 10 minutes or so of 580 Sports Talk today. Coming up tomorrow, apparently Dan's here. No one tells me anything, tells me any of your damn plans. I will not be here tomorrow. I'm going to be up in Des Moines.
Well, that's why he had to be here.
I suppose.
To get through that first hour.
Listen, man.
If I could, I would.
I'm in and out.
If I could, I would.
My car battery is dead in a freaking bookstore parking
and
lot.
A storm is approaching.
Yeah, I got to go replace that. I was sweating my ass off today. I've had a day. Maybe someone meant to tell me, hey, where's Brendan? Oh, I don't know. He might be on a sales call, or he might be learning to be a mechanic at the Barnes & Noble. Anyway, not looking forward to this evening, if you can't tell. All right, tomorrow, Matt Derrick, Chiefs Insider. He'll join us at 3:30 tomorrow. 4:30 tomorrow, Andy Weingarten, formerly of Wave 3 TV and WIBW TV, to preview the Belmont Stakes final leg of the Triple Crown, What Is Wrong With You Weekly Championship, and more tomorrow from 3 to 6, plus overtime here on 580 Sports Talk. Right now, though, before we're done, we've got to play a little either or over under. You've got a K-State one. I'm glad because we didn't get to it today. We were short on time since we heard from the Chiefs, which I'm glad we heard from them. Casey Alexander, new head coach of K-State Hoops. He joined John Rothstein of CBS and College Basketball Today on his podcast this week. So your either or over under comes from that conversation.
Yeah, it does. So it was great 18-minute conversation on YouTube. Just look up Inside College Basketball, John Rothstein. They hit on a lot of topics, and I saw some that he posted the clips on Twitter or X, but the one that he didn't, and I literally missed it until today. It came out like 2 days ago, was the very last one. He asked him, Rothstein asked him what his expectations were year one. And he said, the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
He said, I think it's feasible with the way that college basketball works with the transfer portal that we can make it to the NCAA tournament this year. And that's the goal. And that's my either or. It would be, or will the Kansas State men's basketball team make the NCAA tournament? Yes or no?
No. I'm a very hard no on that. I thought last year they were going to go this past season. You heard me on this show. You and I talked about it. I think I said they would be an 8 or a 9 seed. Clearly they were not. I do not.
So remember, we've got extended field.
That's true. I just don't think this team has enough talent. I'm sure he's thrilled. He's going to be at a conference now where you can get an at-large bid. But I just think they're a year away talent-wise. I know the portal helps, but I'm a hard no on that one. It doesn't mean it can't be a successful year, but I don't think tournament's likely.
So I think they make it, but they're one of the new, and people are going to give them flack for that.
And you're going to hear, God, do you really want to see more K-State?
Yeah.
Hear that all over?
Like, I think they're going to be a benefactor of this new system that's coming up for the NCAA tournament next year.
All right, real quick, before we get to the last commercial break and the final word. Royals just won their series with the Reds. 4-gamer with the Twins starts tonight. It'll be Seth Lugo versus Andrew Morris, your pitching matchup. Over under 2.5 wins in this 4-game series for the Royals. Can they keep their momentum, win a second straight series?
I'm taking the over. I think they're going to win the series.
Hey!
Not split it. I think they're going to win it. And I get Michael Garcia back there, and they'll be even better.
To follow up on my point from earlier about my existentialism with this Royals team, under, I can't believe until I see way more proof. We have to get to one more commercial break. We'll come back, wrap up 580 Sports Talk after this with the final word. Wrapping up this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk with the final word, Spencer Dupuis, you are up first.
Is it crazy that the Royals won their first series in nearly a month last night? Isn't that crazy? It's been nearly a month since they've won a
but
series.
It's also not.
Yeah.
Because I watched them and this team ain't winning that many games.
Look, I like what they're getting from guys that you're not used to seeing actually play well, like Michael Massey, Nick Lofton. Like, they're playing very well. And Vinny's starting to pick it up. So I think things are on the upswing for this team. So that's why I was very looking forward to them winning a series this weekend.
The final word for me today is if you believe that going to Congress to ask for help to save college football or whatever wording you want to use, that you need some sort of national guardrails for the whole thing, that the money has gotten out of control, we might not agree, but I do respect your opinion on the matter. However, there is no one less worthwhile to share that opinion than Nick Saban, of all people, who spoke yesterday in front of Congress talking about, oh, the money is out of control and we need all this framework and guardrails and look at these programs and all the money they're spending. When you were the head coach at Alabama, Nick, you had every single benefit you could ever ask for. But now that the playing field is leveled, hold on, this is bad. Give me a break. Totally understand and respect if that's your opinion. That is not the guy you want sharing your message. That'll do it, though, for us today on 580 Sports Talk. Matt Derrick tomorrow, Andy Weingarten tomorrow, plenty of Royals preview as well. Until then, for Spencer Dupuis, I'm Brendan Dworzinski. We'll join you tomorrow at 3 o'clock right back here on 580 Sports Talk.